My name is Kimber Shearer. First, I'd like to apologize for having to do my presentation in English. And secondly, I also would like to note that I am not a representative of the Tea Party movement. So, boo. However, I am hoping to provide you with some information about the origins and the rise of the Tea Party movement in the United States. On February 6th, 2009, a stay-at-home mother in Seattle, Washington named Kelly Carrender wrote an entry on her personal blog about a porculus protest that she was organizing against President Barack Obama's proposed $750 billion stimulus package. Although Ms. Carrender did not use the phrase Tea Party on her blog, her first protest drew 120 people, so she's credited for being a part of the origins of the Tea Party movement. A few days later, from the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, a business news correspondent with the television station CNBC named Rick Santelli railed against the Obama administration's proposal to help homeowners who are facing foreclosure refinance the mortgages on their homes. He went on to suggest that he was going to plan a Chicago Tea Party in July around the Independence Day holiday, where capitalists would dump some derivative securities into Lake Michigan. The video of this tirade became a YouTube hit, igniting the movement on a nationwide scale. Websites such as ChicagoTeaParty.com went live within 12 hours. After Santelli's remarks, the website RETeaParty.com was bought to coordinate various Tea Party rallies scheduled for that July. It soon began receiving more than 11,000 hits a day. Mr. Santelli is thus widely credited with launching the grassroots movement. As a reference, the Tea Party name refers to the American colonists' dumping of tea into the Boston Harbor back in 1773 to protest taxes that were being imposed by King George of England. It has also become known as the acronym for Taxed Enough Already. Within weeks, Tea Party protests were sprouting up all over the country. On February 27, 2009, the first nationwide Tea Party protest was held, with coordinated events occurring in more than 40 cities around the United States. Most of these events were organized through the internet and at the community level. Protests centered against the TARP bailout bill, which had been signed by former President Bush back in October 2008, as well as the federal stimulus bill that was signed by President Obama 10 days prior to the protests. One might ask, why did Tea Party members feel a need to differentiate themselves from the Republican Party as the primary structure for economically conservative politics in the United States? In addition to opposing most of President Obama's proposed spending policies, they were also very displeased that for 6 years, a Republican administration with control of both houses of Congress resulted in increased deficits. Tea Party activists and fundraisers' actions focused on unseating and replacing both Republicans and Democrats who had voted for the TARP bailout and the stimulus bills. This was initially seen as a backlash against President Bush's compassionate conservatism in favor of a more traditional focus on small government. What does the Tea Party movement stand for? It is an economically conservative coalition that is not homogeneous in its makeup, and it includes those of all political parties. While the movement tends to be made up of Republicans and conservatives in the United States, the movement's defining feature is its unique brand of economic conservatism. Tea Party members hold more conservative views on a range of issues than Republicans do generally. They are also more likely to describe themselves as very conservative and President Obama as very liberal. And while most Republicans say they are dissatisfied with Washington, most Tea Party supporters classify themselves as angry. Tea Party they believe in American exceptionalism, but they believe that what makes the United States exceptional is its economic might, and they believe that this is in serious jeopardy. The Tea Party Patriots' mission statement claims that their top 3 issues are fiscal responsibility, constitutionally limited government, and free markets. Their mission is to attract, educate, organize, and mobilize their fellow citizens to secure public policy that is consistent with these 3 core values. Tea Partiers detest all things big. They hate big government, big business, big national debt, and big taxes. They express hostility towards the elite and outrage that the government has come to the aid of Wall Street while ignoring the plight of Main Street. Another popular slogan for the movement is no taxation without representation. The Tea Party movement espouses economic conservative values. This impacts their priorities in terms of policy. When asked to name their top issues, rather than prioritize a variety of items, Tea Party members will assert immediately their economic conservatism. While voters overall are extremely concerned about the economy and jobs, the Tea Party members are over twice as likely to name national deficit and spending as their top issue. The economy remains a top priority, but concern about the deficit is pronounced within this group, underscoring the unifying thread of economic conservatism that runs throughout the Tea Party movement. Tea Party members are more concerned about rates of taxation, and they see more negative consequences to increased taxes. In a survey conducted by the Winston Group in December 2009, 82% of Tea Party members said that when tax provisions that are set to expire in 2011, taxes on people like them will increase, compared to 62% of overall respondents in the United States. They also see serious consequences to higher taxes. 83% of Tea Party members said they believe increasing taxes will somehow cause job losses. Despite the concern over taxing and spending, there is tension that exists as a result of balancing the priorities of fiscal conservatism and job creation. Like most voters, jobs are a major factor in Tea Party members' policy positions. When asked whether the deficit or the unemployment rate is more important, the unemployment rate wins by a slim majority among Tea Party members. Yet when Tea Party members are asked to choose between two desirable outcomes, a balanced budget or a 5% unemployment rate, their choice is no different from the electorate as a whole, which is a balanced budget. In the abstract, the deficit is a serious concern of Tea Party members, yet a concrete reduction in unemployment is able to outweigh this concern. However, for many Tea Party members, it is precisely these fiscally conservative issues like lower taxes and decreased spending that will enable the economy to create jobs. Tax cuts are the preferred job creation strategy for Tea Party members. They lean towards tax cuts for small businesses and expanding development of all energy resources. This is why the concern about the deficit remains closely tied to the concern about the economy and jobs, because the deficit issue is linked to tangible economic outcomes. In the Winston Group survey, Tea Party members expressed very little approval of President Obama's job as president, and they are highly opposed to the president's national health care reform plan, with 82% of Tea Party members opposing it. Who are Tea Party supporters? According to a New York Times poll released last April, the 18% of Americans who identified themselves as Tea Party supporters tend to be Republican, white, male, married, and over the age of 45. Tea Party members consider themselves citizen activists who are part of a grassroots movement that is organized from the bottom up, small groups united under a shared ideology. The Tea Party movement has no central leadership, but is composed of a loose affiliation of national and local groups that define their own platforms and agendas. While the movement claims no national leader or figurehead, after former vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin delivered the keynote address at the first Tea Party convention held last February, many Tea Party supporters began to view her as an unofficial leader of the movement. However, the core element of the Tea Party movement is grassroots activism, and thus there are in fact many leaders throughout the country. The Tea Party movement is not a national political party. It does not officially field congressional candidates, and its name has not appeared on any ballots. However, it has so far endorsed only Republican candidates running for office. The Tea Party movement, specifically candidates who identify with the Tea Party, quickly received significant amounts of funding and logistical support from various individual conservatives, as well as newly formed conservative advocacy groups, such as Freedom Works and Americans for Prosperity.